So, picture this. Just south of the tense border between North and South Korea, a paparazzi snaps a picture of Yoon Se-ri, a total powerhouse, with her super famous actor boyfriend. Cue the classic celebrity scandal drill. Her team frantically brainstorms a cover story, to which Se-ri didn't care much about. Her real outrage was that the paparazzi blurred her fabulous new earrings, which she was about to launch for her company. She built her own empire from the ground up to get away from her ridiculously messy family. Speaking of which, her brother calls with some great news that their dad, the family patriarch, is getting out of jail after some white-collar crimes. The whole family gathers for a painfully awkward welcome-home dinner for Dad. It's less "we missed you" and more so about who gets a company. Her brothers are a piece of work. One is a hothead who punches union leaders. The other just got swindled in a dumb investment scam. Dad, the chairman, asked, "Where's Se-ri?" Right on cue, she struts in. She doesn't even sit down, just drops a cold, "Congrats on not being in jail anymore," and turns to leave. But then her dad drops a bombshell. He wants her, the daughter who walked away, to take over the multi-billion-dollar family company. The room erupts in outrage. She's the only one who actually made it on her own. With a wicked smile, Se-ri accepts on one condition. She gets to fire any underqualified executives, by which she indirectly means her dumbass brothers and their wives. The next day, to blow off some steam from all the family drama, Se-ri decides to personally test her company's new paragliding gear. Everything was going perfectly fine until a freak tornado appears out of nowhere. Everything goes black. Meanwhile, on the other side of the border, we meet Captain Ri Jeong-hyeok, a North Korean soldier. He's at the border dealing with a group of sketchy men his South Korean counterparts caught. The men claim they're just hunting deer, but they were actually caught red-handed digging up ancient artifacts. Jeong-hyeok gives his word of honor that these criminals will face justice. Just as tensions ease, one of the idiots grabs a gun. In a flash, Jeong-hyeok disarms him and takes the whole crew down. Back at his base, he reports the incident to his superior, Officer Joe. He gave the order to let the grave robbers go, but Jeong-hyeok refuses, his superior warning him, "Just be careful that your stubborn honor doesn't accidentally threaten national security." The next morning, when Se-ri wakes up, she found herself hanging on a tree branch, very confused. Her walkie-talkie was not working, so she starts yelling for help. Nearby, Ri Jeong-hyeok hears a strange noise. He finds her. When she sees his uniform, her face lights up. She assumes he's a South Korean rescuer, but when she spots his insignia, her smile vanishes. That's not a South Korean uniform. Jeong-hyeok orders her to come down. Se-ri, who is used to giving orders, not taking them, whines that it's too high. So he does the universal language of "get down now." He cocks his gun. That works. She immediately unhooks herself and plummets right on top of him, wrapping herself around him like a terrified koala. The best part? He throws his hands straight up in the air like, "I am not touching this crazy southern woman." Once she untangles herself, he asked her name. Se-ri refuses. "We just met." That's a bit forward, don't you think? Then she gets an idea. She lowers her voice and asks him to let her go to her home, and she won't tell anybody about him being in South Korea. He just stares at her and told her calmly that he was not in South Korea. It was her in North Korea. As she heard that, her face color drains out. He clarifies they're in the DMZ, but on his side of the border. As she desperately explains the tornado, he finally lowers his gun. He tells her she'll have to explain it all during her investigation. She panics and decided to rescue herself. She splashes across a shallow stream, and he doesn't even chase her. He just calls out casually and tell her that she was in a minefield. He swaggers after her, walking like as if he's an expert on every mine's location. He takes a confident step forward, and click. He himself stepped on a live mine. City stops running. Her moment of victory gets even better when he wobbles and his walkie-talkie plops into the water. She snatches it up. He warns her he still has a gun. She just smirks and asks him that, "Are you going to shoot the one person who can help you?" "I don't think so." She leaves the walkie-talkie half in the water, just within his reach. As a final power move, she calls back and says, "You're totally my type, but I hope I never see you again." As his squad mate approaches, she runs away. Kwang Byum finally notices his captain is standing on a bomb and panics, but somehow manages to disarm him. Meanwhile, Se-ri run on a wild sprint through terrifying minefield and sees a fence with a tree fallen over it, making a perfect bridge. She scrambles up, completely missing the soldiers screaming out loud, "Stop! Don't go there, come back! If you go there, we'll all die." A nervous Chi-soo takes a wild shot at her. That's all the motivation she needed, and she jumped on the other side. She heads toward toward the guard tower where Jeong-hyeok is supposed to be on lookout, but he's too busy watching the old South Korean drama Stairway to Heaven and never even sees Se-ri zooming right past the tower. Meanwhile, Se-ri is running for her life, convinced she's finally about to find safety. She takes a nasty tumble, rolling down a hill and banging up her knee, but she's so pumped with adrenaline, she just pops back up and keeps going. She literally zips right past a young soldier, Eun-dong, who's too busy reading a sad letter from his mom and fighting back tears to notice the blur of purple sprinting by. Back in Seoul, the news of Se-ri's disappearance finally reaches her lovely, supportive family. Sejun's wife, Haiji, is mid-prayer with her church group, asking for divine intervention against the person usurping her husband's position. When she gets the call that Se-ri is missing, she actually does a little victory dance. Her prayer was answered before she even finished saying it. The irony is delicious. Her brothers rush to the search site, not out of concern, but to beg the police to keep it out of the news so the company's stock price doesn't tank. The only person showing any real emotion is poor Secretary Hong, who is screaming at everyone to look harder. From his car, their father, Chairman Hyun, quietly notes Hong's genuine panic, a stark contrast to his own son's coldness. Even Se-ri's mother is upset, but for more complicated reasons. She remembers confronting Se-ri after the dinner. "I thought you vowed to never be one of us," she'd hissed. Se-ri's reply was a dagger to the heart. "You know, whenever I get scared, I still yell mommy," which is weird since I don't have one. Back in the North Korean wilderness, exhausted Se-ri finally stops to catch her breath and ditch her heavy paragliding gear. Over there, Captain Ri and his squad are admitting this disaster is kind of their fault. They were all distracted. The hungover Chi-soo cuts to the chase. "We need to find her before the real scary secret police find her, or we're all totally screwed." They're so determined to find her that they can't even focus on their regular guard duties. Back in Seoul, the other brother, Se-hyung, is getting a pep talk from his ambitious wife, saying, "This is your last shot," she tells him. "While everyone's distracted looking for your sister, you need to find that con man who scammed you and get our money back." And speaking of that con man, cut to the slick, smirking Gu Sung-jun, who's currently hiding out in China. He's meeting a contact who confirms what he already guessed. The rich, humiliated Se-hyung is hunting him. Where on earth can you hide from a guy with unlimited money and power? Sung-jun wonders aloud. His contact just smiles. There's one place. Back at the North Korean garrison, the shady officer Joe meets with the grave robbers. It's immediately obvious he's in on their whole operation. He has them show him on a map where the good artifacts are, promising them a huge reward. They think they've hit the jackpot. He puts them in a truck, letting them believe they're being set free. But on a remote cliffside road, their escort vehicle suddenly rams into them, sending their truck flying off the cliff where it explodes in a ball of fire. A woman walking nearby sees the whole thing and tries to run, but the murderous escort vehicle turns its headlights on her too. Meanwhile, Se-ri is hopelessly lost, walking in circles. She gets the smart idea to start tying vines on branches to mark her path, a move that will later prove very helpful for a certain search party. As night falls, Jeong-hyeok and his squad, terrified of the punishment they'll face if she's found by anyone else, set out to find her. They follow her trail of vines, and when Jeong-hyeok realizes which direction she's headed, his face fills with dread. Why? Because Se-ri finally stumbles into what looks like a village. The streets are dark and empty, and she thinks, "Thank God, I'm saved." Suddenly, the entire village roars to life as the electricity kicks on for the evening. People pour into the streets, crowding around a man with a cart, talking about chicken egg tickets. Loudspeakers on a tower blast cheerful, propaganda-style music, and the whole village breaks into a synchronized exercise routine. Se-ri just stands there, utterly bewildered, as children march in perfect lines to school and signs light up proclaiming paradise of the people. The horrifying truth finally dawns on her. She never made it out. She's still in North Korea. As she stands frozen in the middle of the street, a military jeep speeds right toward her, its headlights blinding her. She's sure it's over, but out of nowhere, an arm swoops around her, yanking her out of the path of the vehicle. She looks up, her heart hammering in her chest. It's him, Captain Ri Jeong-hyeok, looking down at her with a mix of urgency and protectiveness.